When we think of the slave trade, we often imagine the crowded ships, the harsh conditions, and the inhumanity of it all. But behind this brutal history lies a chilling market where people were reduced to prices and different types of enslaved individuals were valued like commodities. Today, we'll uncover the tragic reality of the types of slaves and the prices they commanded in today's current market. There were distinct categories of slaves, each priced according to their role and perceived value. Let's take a closer look. The field slaves. These were the most common and often the least valued. They worked under the relentless sun, toiling in the fields of cotton, sugar, and tobacco plantations. Field slaves were the backbone of agriculture in the Americas, and their price reflected that. They were generally sold for lower amounts, considered less valuable than others because their labor required little specialized skill. There were the house slaves. These individuals were tasked with domestic duties, cooking, cleaning, serving, and caring for children within the master's household. A house slave often fetched a slightly higher price, for their work brought them closer to the family, demanding good manners, loyalty, and sometimes even trust. But it was the skilled slaves who truly commanded higher prices. These were craftsmen, blacksmiths, carpenters, and artisans whose expertise added value far beyond raw labor. A skilled slave could generate income beyond the plantation, making them a prized asset. A talented blacksmith could be sold for thousands of dollars, a fortune at the time, reflecting not just the cost of labor, but the profit potential they represented. Even more unsettling were the breeding slaves. Enslaved women were valued for their ability to produce children, creating a future generation of labor. Prices varied based on age, health, and reproductive potential. In this dark economy, their worth was often tied to their capacity to ensure a continuous labor force for years to come. Children, too, were part of this horrific trade. Child slaves were sold at lower prices, but they represented future potential. A young child, still years from profitable labor, could be bought for a relatively modest amount, with the grim hope that they grow into strong workers. And the most coveted? The young, strong men, prime-age males. They were seen as ideal laborers, strong, capable, and with many years of work ahead of them. They fetched the highest prices, sometimes costing as much as a house or a piece of land. In today's terms, a single young male could be worth the equivalent of $30,000 to $50,000 or more. A strong adult male field worker in the 1700s was typically sold for around $300 to $600 at the time. Adjusting for inflation, that's equivalent to about $10,000 to $20,000 in today's money. A house slave in the 1800s might be sold for around $800 to $1,200. Today, that's equivalent to $25,000 to $35,000. In the 19th century, a skilled slave could fetch between $1,500 to $3,000, depending on their trade and age. In today's currency, this would range from $45,000 to $90,000, making them some of the most valuable human assets of their time. Breeding slaves, usually young women, ranged from $600 to $1,200 in the 1800s. In today's terms, that translates to about $20,000 to $35,000. Children were seen as an investment, cheap to buy, but a gamble for the future. A child might be sold for as little as $100 to $200 during the 1700s and 1800s. In today's money, that's equivalent to around $3,000 to $7,000. And at the top of this grim market were the prime-age male slaves. They were often sold for $1,000 to $2,000 in the early 1800s, equivalent to an astonishing $30,000 to $60,000 in today's economy. It's hard to imagine a world where a human being's worth was measured in dollars and cents, where each person's fate was decided by their skills, age, gender, or physical strength. It's still happening today, but in a subtle way. Thank you for watching. See you in the next one.